Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome to the Jobsite Journal with Ronnie. We're talking about becoming a great superintendent, becoming a superintendent. So today I was working on, let me cut this down. Today at the office, my job hasn't started, but we're interviewing for another job in one of the municipalities in the suburb of Houston. So we're going to interview for it. So one of the questions was, maybe two of the questions, because this job site is close to the coast. So, and it's across the street from a middle school. So in talking to everybody on the team, we're talking about one of the questions they may ask you is, how are we going to protect, who are we going to protect and how? And the second thing that they wanted to know was the logistics plan. How are we going to move people, material, and equipment around the construction site? You know, so having planned for, or having looked at the site, having looked at the surrounding areas. I drove around the site yesterday. I went on the website today. Well, not the web. I went on Google and looked at the map. I looked at the surrounding areas, looked at the streets around it, and kind of mapped it out and saw the areas where 18-wheeler can turn into, where they couldn't. You know, how are we going to offload materials? Can we get an 18-wheeler in this job site? How are we going to get them out? You know, how are we going to move the trade partners, the workers, where are they going to park? All of these things go into a logistics plan. So basically a logistics plan is how you're going to move material, people, and resources around the job site in an efficient manner, right? Where your office trailer is going to be, where's your laydown area going to be, where your facilities going to be, like your hand wash station and your porta potties. You know, how many porta potties are we going to have? Are we expecting any females on the job site? So we have to have, if you have a female on the site, you should have a dedicated porta potty for the female. And typically we put a lock on those to keep the nasty men out of the facilities for ladies. You know, where are we going to position the hand wash station? Is it going to be away from traffic, away from vehicular traffic? So the last thing we want, I saw a report where a guy stepped out of a porta potty and got hit by a car. You understand what I'm saying? So all of these things go into your logistics plan. Where's your muster point going to be? Muster point, the muster point is a place in case of an emergency and we blow the horn. Then you know to go to this location and to stand there and wait to be counted, so we can make sure that everybody on site is accounted for. Where your muster point's going to be, where your smoking area is going to be. You understand what I'm saying? So when I was doing the logistics plan, I wasn't doing a detailed logistics plan. I was just doing a general overall logistics plan to give them an idea of how we gonna maneuver this thing. Where's my fence gonna be? And during the process, doing demo, doing construction, I'm gonna have to block off some of their walking trails. So what are we gonna do temporarily to keep these people moving, the residents moving along the trail? I'm gonna have to build a temporary, you know, things like this, thinking about all of that. What am I gonna do first? You know, and part of this logistics plan, where there's a main street, there's a school across the street, and then there's some other internal streets, but the parking, the new parking pulls right up. It's a grass area now, but in it pulls right up. It's adjacent right up against it. So my thing was, hey, we're gonna block off part of this street. We're gonna try to get this done as soon as possible, at least about 20 foot of this parking, so I can move the fence and give them back their street. Meanwhile, still maintaining a secure site and having it enclosed and being able to keep the public safe while working on everything we need to work on. So those are the portions of a logistics plan that you need to understand. There are 3 schools around this site. So in protection, one of the questions that they want to know is, how are you going to protect? What are you going to protect and how? And my response to that is, when I was thinking about it, understand I had to do my due diligence. I had to research. I know it's a middle school across the street. I know there's another building where they do some extended services, studying and things of that nature. Also, I know that there's a Catholic school right next to the other building, and then there's a high school right on the same side of the street, you know, right adjacent to the other building that's on the site. So I had to look at that. What I did was call all of the schools and find out what time does drop-off start, what time does it end, or school start, and then find out what time the school end and when does the high traffic cease, so I can coordinate my deliveries between those times, right? So one of the things is, what am I going to protect? How am I going to protect? First of all, I'm going to protect them by having clear signage. You know, I'm going to protect the job site by having a gate. I'm also protect the public by having a gate and a secure construction site, enclosed site with 2 gates, one for entrance and one for exit. Driving gates. I may have a couple of man gates. I haven't thought about it, but I may have 2 man gates, you know, so people can walk. They don't have to walk all the way to the front to walk around. So I may have 2 or 3 man gates, one in the back and one on each side. So that's how I'm going to protect them. I'm going to protect them by having clear realtor type signage, 18 by 24 inch signage, you know, and I'm gonna have the exit and the entrance clearly marked and signs around the site with directional arrows pointing to the construction entrance and construction exit. Secondly, or the second thing I know is I'm gonna protect these people. Well, who am I protecting? First of all, I have an obligation and a responsibility to protect the children at the 3 neighboring schools. The one across the street, the one cattle corner, and the one next door. I have a responsibility to protect the children at all costs. Secondly, I have a responsibility to protect the visitors to this municipal facility via the track, the pool, or whatever else services they're coming to participate in. Thirdly, I have to protect the residents of this community, of this city, that are doing the same thing, maybe coming to some of the facilities or coming to conduct business. The next thing I have to protect is I have to protect the employees of the municipality that are working in the adjoining buildings, the adjacent buildings, and maybe having work at this facility, you know, this new facility. I have to protect those people. And the last thing I need to protect, or in order, they're all important, but in terms of order, the kids will be first, the visitors will be second, residents, the employees, and as well, the last thing I need to protect are my trade guys, the guys actually doing the work. So those are the guys that I need to protect. So in my logistics plan, I have that all together. And this site being a site that is located in a flood hurricane plain or close to the Gulf Coast, one of the things they want to know, and one of the questions they alluded to, was how do you prepare for a hurricane? Well, I have a hurricane action plan, meaning that in the time or in the event that there's a named storm, whether it be tropical storm, what they call a tropical storm first. So in the event that there's a tropical storm in the Gulf, there are certain things we do. For instance, but we'll do this before, you know, the time comes. We'll appoint people from every discipline, plumber, electrician, carpenter. We'll appoint these guys to be head of certain things. Secondly, what we'll do is that we will assign people responsibilities. For instance, we will assign, when there's a named storm in the Gulf, what we will do is that we will call and have our trash empty, our dumpster empty. Second of all, we will walk the site as a team and we will identify anything that can potentially be picked up by a high wind and used to, to cause damage. We'll identify those things and secure those things. Thirdly, we will start preparing and removing things, that could potentially be damaged by water. So those are the types of things that we're thinking about in our logistics plan and for our meeting tomorrow. But this is just for you guys wanting to be a superintendent. These are the types of things that you need to think about in your logistics planning. What your laydown yard going to be like. All of these things. So you need to think, the superintendent is a quarterback on the field, on the job site. So I need to think about all of these things. You understand what I'm saying? So this is just a tidbit, and this is part of preparation in the preparation for an interview for a project. So the owner is interviewing, I think, 3 to 4 contractors, general contractors, to build this facility. I think they have like 4 or 5 facilities that they're going to build, but this is the first one. So they're interviewing us. So this is a part of my superintendent role, is to develop a plan for this project. We don't even have drawings yet, but this is all a thought process that goes into this. So there's more than just, hammer this, nail that, concrete. No, there's a lot of thinking and pre-planning that goes on before you even get on site. So this project won't start for another 8 months. But I'm RGT. I've been doing this 25 years. So hopefully I can help you in your quest to become a better superintendent or to become a superintendent. So y'all have a good one. Drop me a comment if you like this video. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because I have a bunch of videos, but I haven't started dropping them yet, and I need to take the time to get them ready and start dropping them. So y'all have a good day. Be blessed. Let's build something.